It's Saturday night,
The kids are in bed,
which means we did it. We survived another week.
so let's talk about it.
From our latest homebrew project,
To kids' crafting project.
it's just talking life with two young kids and two dogs. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back,
Relax.
and see where the conversation takes us.
Sometimes we don't even know until we get there. This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a minor parenting problem.
This week I would say it was severe, but
Oh, it's a severe problem.
that's just me.
Well, you know what they say about problems? The first step to recovery is admitting that you have one. There's something like that.
How do we break it to the kids that they're moving out?
Well, your mom's house is...
Almost done?
It's almost done. By the time this airs, it might be done.
A snap.
They just have to close.
I
But
can't wait. They can't wait either at this point.
yeah. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and that voice that you hear is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. How's
Hey,
it
Hubs.
going?
I am very tired. I have done a lot of research for this episode and have driven all around town for this episode, and I would like a nap. You don't understand. Coming home from the Krohn Conservatory today, I had Mom tell me how to get home, and somehow we ended up in Clifton. It worked out. We made it home, but we were not supposed to go through Clifton to get home. So we just showed off UC to Lily and Elliot.
You know what helps with that issue?
She told me that
Don't.
GPS
Don't listen to your mom.
the GPS took us a weird way to get there. So she had this other way to get home. And I was like, okay, we'll take your way home then. And then we flubbed up. We made it home. Elliot eventually got his snack and his nap. So he was happy.
So you mentioned the Krohn Conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a minute. But this week's episode is all about Krampus, lights, and trains, and
Woo.
some of our other holiday Christmas traditions. And Krampus, just very quickly, is the anti-Santa Claus.
Saint Nick.
He's the anti-Saint Nick.
There is a difference between Saint Nick and Santa Claus.
Semantics, though. But the lights that I am referring to are reference to the Festival of Lights at the Cincinnati Zoo. And then the trains, bring it back around to the Krohn Conservatory, references a display that they do every year
Mm-hmm.
with trains and flowers,
Yes.
which you took the kids to see today.
Correct. We were one of many toddlers that were in attendance. So many toddlers.
So we will talk about that shortly, but first, let's briefly talk about the previous week.
So, how did you fare on Sunday, Hubs?
I see what you did there. Maybe you should have a mom joke of the week.
You don't want me to start competing with you.
Well, I stayed home with the kids all day, and you abandoned us.
For the record, I asked you whether or not I could abandon you. You could have said no.
Okay. It was abandonment with consent. How about that?
At least you didn't say you were babysitting the kids.
Would that have triggered you?
Yes.
I should have done it then. No, I stayed
You
home with...
can't babysit your own kids. It's called parenting.
So I stayed home with the kids all day, almost all afternoon. And where did you go?
I went to Happy Hangout, Lily's favorite place ever, for a craft fair. So Caroline's Creative Crafts reopened for business, and I sold some of my goods to people who were buying Christmas presents. So I had lots of fun. I met some new people, like new friends. I'm going to try to find a craft fair for the spring and see if I can get rid of some more craft crap, as you affectionately call it.
I have an entire closet, and that closet has leaked into our library.
Okay, that's because I haven't unpacked yet because I'm still selling stuff. Molly wants to buy 2 blankets. I just sold a bunch of earrings to Gretchen, and I'm going to try to post some more stuff online.
Okay.
And see what happens.
Okay. Well, I'm just
So,
saying.
I'm going to take pictures tomorrow. I won't have the kids. I'll do a Facebook feed thingy. the business tracker scheduler fancy pants thing.
Well, anyway, you did pretty good as far as selling stuff.
I did.
It was a small craft fair.
It was a small craft fair. It was their first year. So attendance was a lot better than I thought it would be. And I sold some stuff. I made back my booth fee. I paid for the new banner that I got. And I paid for some of my supplies. Now I actually am tracking my expenses, which is mildly problematic, because I normally don't do that. But I'm trying to be more legit now.
So legit. You had a logo.
I still have a logo.
The logo is
We
not
couldn't find
on
the
your banner.
original to put on the banner.
I guess that's true. That's probably my fault.
Yeah, I wanted to use a good quality image, but we didn't have one. So I just slapped something together on their website.
Okay.
It was a pretty cheap banner.
Well, you said you paid for it, so there's that.
Yeah. So now it's officially paid off. Now, on my fleece, I have to sell some more blankets before that's all paid off.
Well, moving on to Monday.
Yep.
Not a whole lot happened except the kids now they continue to have colds.
They were doing a lot better, and now they're doing way better. But yeah, they were still sick on Monday, and probably like the first half of the week. They did get worse after Thanksgiving, so they did need some time to rest and recuperate after the craziness that was 4 Thanksgiving meals in 3 days.
Yeah, I would say Lily got better quicker than Elliot did.
Yeah, Elliot still has a little something in his chest, so he's got to get rid of that.
So Wednesday, Thursday, just generic days, nothing of importance happened. And then Friday, I guess, are we announcing something?
I mean, I guess we can now because my employer knows and I no longer work for them. Friday was my last day at the company that I worked for. I have a new job that I'll start next Monday. So I have a week off with the kids. And then I'm back to full-time working woman. And Joe is going to get really annoyed really quick with the number of times that I claim that I'm unemployed. Like, oh, yeah, you slept in this morning because your lazy unemployed wife decided to sleep in and didn't wake you up in time.
What?
I mean, I haven't been lazy. I won't be lazy, though. I've got a lot of things on my to-do list, like go to the Krohn Conservatory. So I'll knock off some things.
Yeah, so that was your last day of work.
Yep.
You are out of your boot.
I
So
am
update
out of
on
my
that.
boot. I have officially gotten the no more appointments with my orthopedic doctor for my ankle. I still have some more physical therapy appointments just because I already had them on the schedule, and it's nice to keep doing these exercises to make sure that I strengthen up my ankle so that I'm less likely to sprain my ankle this bad again. Though they say every time you sprain it, it's just slightly worse than the time before. So, love you, Hubs. Love you so much.
Avoid the pumpkin patch. I'm just gonna buy a wheelchair and wheel you around in the when we go to the pumpkin patch.
Just like pay somebody to drive me around in a golf cart. Hey, can I get one of those?
No.
What's the thing that they have the commercials for? The mobility scooters. Maybe your insurance will pay for it. My insurance is going to be like, stop doing things. Just live in a bubble.
Really? For real.
Yeah. So then after I got my my mildly clean bill of health, I picked up you, and then we picked up the kids, and according to your parents, we tortured the children. And we were going to give them nightmares. We were giving them nightmare fuel.
Oh boy. And why is this?
Because we visited Krampus.
And
like,
where did we visit Krampus at?
Well, we went to Westside Brewing. I think we were the only small children there.
I don't think that's true. There are a couple other kids.
There were a few, but I don't know if any of them were there specifically to see Krampus. We were there specifically to see our friends dressed up as Krampus.
Well, I mean, we were there for other things too. I mean, they released a very delicious beer, which we will talk about later. And we are drinking now, by the way.
That's so yummy. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
We'll talk about the beer later. We'll talk more about what Krampus is. But our experience at West Side Brewing, it was very crowded.
They had a private event taking up some of the seating. So I think if there wasn't the private event, it would have been a little bit better. But
Was the private event like the Krampus people?
no, it was not.
Oh.
So I don't know what the private event was. I think we left before they showed up. Maybe it was like a rehearsal dinner or something because they had catering.
Can you imagine doing a rehearsal dinner there and there's a bunch of people dressed up as Krampus?
Hey, it's on the schedule. You had to know about it. Not our fault. Welcome to Cincinnati.
So, and it was chaotic also on our end because they don't have high chairs.
No, they don't have high chairs, and the only table we could find was a high top.
Yeah.
Which went way better than I thought it would. So it worked out.
And they had a really nice, I wouldn't call it a food truck. It was more like a booth.
Yeah, like a mobile food booth.
Yeah. I don't recall what it's called, but it's German themed.
Yeah, and they had really yummy schnitzel sandwiches. Like, it was like elevated schnitzel sandwiches. I was a fan.
Schnitzel is the size of my head.
Yeah, even though Elliot dumped my top bun onto the floor, it was still a yummy schnitzel sandwich.
Yeah, that was a curveball eating that. And then juggling two kids.
Yeah, when I couldn't put Elliot down and Elliot's like, what's this? What's this? What's that? And grabs literally everything.
Well, I managed to eat. You're a slower eater than I am.
No, I couldn't eat because Elliot was trying to grab everything that went towards my mouth.
Well,
next time I will give you the infant to hold while you eat, and you can see how it goes.
Are we going to have another infant next year? Is that what you're saying?
No, just the next event we go to where somebody has to hold a baby while we're eating food. You can be the one that holds the baby.
All right, hold the baby, whatever. So we were like in and out in an hour, maybe.
Yeah, we were more there waiting for our food to show up.
Yeah.
But the kids got pictures with Krampus. They weren't like the best pictures ever, but that's okay. You can still like tell the kids and tell Krampus, and that's the important thing. And the kids didn't have nightmares. Like, they were more nervous around St. Nick than they were around Krampus.
Yeah, St. Nick was also there, by the way.
He was.
Because the two are opposites.
Yes, we will get into that later.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to Saturday, Lily helped set up the outside decorations before her nap time.
So while Elliot was napping, Lily and myself dug out the Christmas light boxes from the basement and started setting up stuff outside. So Lily carried around a giant candy cane and was whacking things with the candy cane. Fortunately, she didn't help me detangle the lights, so that was good. We managed to get some candy canes set up and the giant inflatable Santa and a light up reindeer before we were like, okay, it's cold. Let's all go inside.
And while you did that, I was inside.
Vacuuming,
yes.
I mean, part of the goal was just to get the toddler outside of the house.
Yes.
But we also needed to start decorating for Christmas.
But the neighbors were out too, right?
Yes. So after I determined that we were done setting up Christmas lights, one, because I didn't feel like setting up any more Christmas lights, and two, because Lily's attention span was waning, we went across the street and we hung out with the neighbor kids for a little bit. Lily more just observed versus interacted. They were very wild.
Yeah,
she wasn't sure what to think of it.
I could hear them. And what is her new phrase?
Doing. So she was just saying, doing. And then I try to like elaborate with what the people were doing that she was pointing to. But still, doing is her go-to phrase at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know why. She just says, doing. I'm doing.
Well, we'll get there. I mean, she is actually doing a thing when she says that. We just have to get her to differentiate between the different things that she is doing.
Sometimes she's not doing anything, though. She's just standing there.
Maybe she's pointing to you while you're doing something, because she'll do that too.
Maybe. Lily has been saying phrases more and sentences.
She has been.
Her own version of sentences.
I'm the only one that can fully understand her, or that can understand her 75% of the time. Everybody else is like 50% or less.
Come on. Give me 65 at least.
Okay, 60%.
No, I said 65.
62.5.
No.
So then after we got Lily inside and warmed up, we all got lunch and we all went our separate ways. literally. So Lily and Elliot were taking naps. Joe got to go to Cheviot, which isn't terribly far away. I had to drive up to Dayton because Stephen and Hillary are having a baby. So they had baby-related parties that we were invited to.
Wait, Hillary's pregnant?
We've covered this.
Does Steven know? I would assume he does.
I would hope so at this point. She's had a lot of doctor's appointments, most of which I think he's been there for.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope so.
So Hillary had a baby shower.
Yep.
Steven had a diaper shower, a diaper party.
Yeah, I think diaper party is the proper term. With like half of our alcohol. Or
Yeah.
was it like all of our alcohol? Like was all of the alcohol our alcohol?
No, he had cider boys.
Okay.
And Yeet brought, this is really funny. Yeet brought some, I don't even know what brand of beer it was.
It's fine. He
It
brought
was-
somewhat.
It was like a pale ale. He's like, you can keep it, Steven.
And Steven's like, thanks. Hey, Joe, take this home.
No, he didn't give it to me. I don't think he registered that Yeats left it, but it was really funny. Yeats like, Tony's like, do you want your beer back? And he's like, no, you keep it, Steven. Steven's like, okay, whatever.
Steven doesn't drink beer.
I would imagine that beer is going to end up in our beer fridge.
Or Tony's, yeah.
Or maybe Tony brought it home.
Maybe.
He would be a better candidate for it.
Yeah.
'Cause
I haven't been drinking my beer fast enough.
I don't necessarily drink pale ales.
Meanwhile, I was at a baby shower where we were just talking about baby things.
Yeah.
Pregnancy, birth. Hillary was trolling us all. She'd like a jumbo pack of diapers because diaper pack sizes are even more screwed up than like Starbucks coffee sizes because it's like you can get a value pack and the value pack has like 20 diapers in it, and then you can get the jumbo pack which has like 32 diapers in it. So she would hold up like the jumbo pack with 32 diapers and she's like, this will last me a week. And we're like, oh honey, no, that's like 2 days.
32 diapers in 2 days?
I mean, she was joking. We were mildly joking. It depends on how much the kid goes to the bathroom. Because like Caitlin was talking about, oh yeah, because what they say is when you go to wake up the kid in the middle of the night to eat, which sometimes you have to do, you change their diaper before you feed them because then that wakes them up more for the feed. And I'm like, yeah, which is all fine and dandy until they poop while you're feeding them because what goes in must come out. And now you have to change their diaper again before you put them to bed. Like, you can't win in any of these situations. It's just the poop everywhere. Everything you have will have poop on it at some point. That is the reality of being a parent.
Okay, as a newborn.
Yeah, as a newborn.
Lily doesn't go through that much.
No. So as they get older, as they get bigger, they go through fewer diapers. But she's like, so size 1, that means they can wear it till they're 1 year old, right? And we're like, so much trolling. But yeah, so we had a lot of fun with that. Everybody thinks that Hillary's having a boy. Like 6 or 7 people said that she's going to have a girl. And 2 of those people were like, all y'all are wrong. She's having a girl. Get over it. Basically.
I'm kind of on the boy train though.
I mean, I don't know. I think I put boy on my ice cream cone scoop because I was panicking as to which one I should pick. Because I was like, Hillary, I don't remember what I've told you more often I think you're having. Do you remember? I mean, you have pregnancy brain. I have mom brain. Together, we maybe have like 60% of a brain.
62 and a half.
Sorry, yeah, 62.5% of a brain.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. She is due in January.
Yes, so we have short window. I better finish that blanket. So I did tell her the blanket will take a while. I have 8 squares out of like 40 squares done.
And Lily, future Lily and Elliot, if you're listening to this, she's putting in more effort into Sweet Pea's blanket than your blankets.
No, it's crochet. Crochet takes way less time than knitting.
Well, it looks it looks more complicated.
Also, this is part of a learn to crochet class. So I'm dual purposing it. So, I mean, the squares don't take that long to make.
But how many squares are
I just
there?
have to sit down and make them. There's like 40 plus squares. I forgot to
It
count
looks
recently.
a lot more complicated than
Well,
their
it does because
blankets.
it's multicolor, but it'll get done before the kid gets to high school. That's my plan.
Okay, well, that was the week. It was a very busy week. Life is
Little bit.
crazy.
A little bit. Kids are getting huge. Oh my goodness. I got to go through their closets and pull out all the too small clothes and then put in the clothes that are just right or too big, but barely too big, until like a month from now when they'll be too small.
So now it is time for What's Bugging Caroline in Children's TV.
So this week, I've been putting a lot of thought into what's bugging me in TV this week.
Whoa, hold on. I'm going to hijack your segment here.
Did you not just hear me say that I put a lot of thought into this week? Fine. Take it over. Do what you want.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Crazy eyes over there.
Love you, honey.
Well, while you were at your craft fair crafting, I was at home with the kids, as mentioned, and I turned on the movie Aladdin, the original.
That's like your favorite movie.
It's well, it's not.
Okay,
my
it's like
favorite.
your favorite Disney movie when I put you into a corner and say, "What's your favorite Disney movie?"
No, so
What's your favorite Disney prince or princess?
backtrack. Yeah, we were in Disney World, and you're like, I think we're in line to see Woody and Buzz.
I don't remember.
And Toy Story is my favorite Disney Pixar movie. Which Pixar is a part of Disney. It's all the same, whatever. It's not technically Disney, but whatever. Semantics. We were in line to see Woody and Buzz, and I was very excited to see them. And yes, I was like 23 or whatever. No judgments.
No judgment, umbrella.
And we were waiting in line because there was a line. And you were like, Joe, my favorite princess is Belle because she loves books. She's independent and all these things that
And she
list off.
actually like has some kind of character arc as far as it seems like time has passed, not like Little Mermaid where it's, oh, hey, 3 days and we're in love. It's the best.
And then you put me on the spot and you say, Joe, who's your favorite prince? And I thought about it and I'm like, favorite prince?
For the record, I'm really good about putting you on the spot with these things.
Well, none of the Disney movies are really about a prince. I mean, they're like background characters, like Snow White. Cinderella's Prince Charming. Snow White is.
I think they're both Prince Charming.
Are they both Prince Charming? Okay, whatever.
Or, well, no, wait. Snow White is for sure Prince Charming. I think Cinderella, the dude, has a name, but I don't remember what it is.
Little Mermaid is Ariel. Little Mermaid is Prince Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast.
You never actually learn his name in the film, but it's Adam.
Allegedly, it's Adam. But he's not very likable, so why would I like him as my favorite prince? So I thought about it, and the obvious answer was Aladdin, which, like I said, Toy Story, top Disney movie. Aladdin was probably a close second, but not because Aladdin's a prince. I mean, he obviously goes through an identity crisis as being a prince in the first one and the second one. And there's a third one too, but that's more about his father and stuff. So I love the movie Aladdin, but I just like it as a movie, not because it's a prince, but because you put me on the spot. He's my favorite prince. I loved it as a kid. I love it now. I haven't seen the remake because the original is so good, and I don't need to see the remake. Like, why would I need to see Will Smith reprise Robin Williams as the genie? Seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
No offense to Will Smith. I'm sure he did his best. But we did see the Broadway version, and it was kind of disappointing. It wasn't.
Well, they have to make changes to make it make sense for the stage.
Yeah, but I've seen Beauty and the Beast, and that was okay. Costume was a little weird, but
that won a Tony, I think. I'm pretty sure it won a Tony.
For the costume?
No, just like Beauty and the Beast, the musical. Pretty sure it won a Tony.
Well, it's different. It's literally just a guy imagine my Halloween costume, the wolf. It's literally
you gotta
that.
Make it work for the stage.
Yeah, it's a little silly. It doesn't, because it's an animated. It's a cartoon.
But
right?
okay, we're drifting away from children's TV.
Okay, so Lillian Elliott and I were watching Aladdin the other day, and there were some issues that pop up. perhaps because I just noticed that because we've been watching Aladdin kind of on a loop lately. Not on a loop necessarily, but
we've been watching it more frequently than we used to.
it's been in the rotation because toddlers tend to like repetition.
Right now it's Moana.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of Moana.
I have no idea where that came from.
I don't either. We hadn't watched Moana for like 4 months, and all of a sudden she's singing the songs. Whatever floats her boat. At least it's not Frozen.
Yeah, she's obsessed with that too. But I have 3 issues, and there technically could be more, but top 3 issues. 1, Jasmine has a pet tiger. Really?
I mean, you've seen Tiger King. It's a thing.
Yeah, the tigers are in a cage. Jasmine is not a Tiger King. She's not that crazy. She didn't try to kill anyone. I'm not saying that he tried to kill someone, but he was convicted of doing that. So there you go. Issue number 2, Jasmine is to be married off by her next birthday, which the Sultan, who doesn't have a name, he's just Sultan, right?
Yeah, so part of the baby shower, we did a match the Disney princess, or match the Disney character to their parents, and Jasmine was literally just the Sultan. And I'm like, well, that's easy.
So Jasmine is to be married off by her next birthday, which the Sultan just casually mentions, like half a second and he missed it. He says, it's in 3 days. And they don't even throw her a birthday party.
That's just mean.
How rude is that? This movie takes place over the course of at least 3 days.
And it must be a big birthday if it's like, you gotta get this ish together before your birthday.
Yeah.
Like,
how rude is that?
it's the rudest.
Throw her a birthday party.
Pretend like you care.
Jeez. And then my third observation / issue was the Sultan is pretty adamant about the law, but isn't he in charge?
I mean, that's the conclusion that he comes to at the end of the movie. But yeah, like, you could have figured this out a lot sooner.
Yeah, for real. And I guess he changed the law because, 1, they didn't get married in 3 days. Even, like, I don't even know what the timeline of this movie is because they go to China, they go to Egypt and Greece. Like, how quickly does a flying carpet go?
It's a magic carpet, Joseph. It's magic. It teleports. That's what it does.
I'm just saying, if I'm going to go to Australia in an airplane, that's going to take a while.
Joe, have you not learned anything from listening to me rant about these shows for forever? They completely ignore all aspects of physics.
Okay, but
Because at
Jafar,
the very least, her hair should not be looking that good.
Jafar also propels Aladdin to like the North Pole or something.
Yeah, some are cold, but I think that's when he is like super powerful. So
At the end, but how long does it take you to fly via carpet from the North Pole to the Middle East?
I mean, again, you're pretending like they care about physics. Like you're assuming that they care about physics. They don't. To them, physics are just a roadblock. They're acting like physicists. Everything is spherical in a vacuum.
Well, I'm just saying, logically, it has to take place over at least a week, right?
Doubt it. Spherical chickens in a vacuum. Zero resistance.
Anyway, that is my hijacking of What's Bugging Caroline in children's TV. I noticed that you have an adult beverage in front of you, and it looks very similar to what is in my glass.
I mean, maybe that's because we're drinking the same thing.
Yeah, we alluded to this at the beginning of the episode. So, what are we drinking?
So we are currently drinking a Krampus Coal, which is a Westside Brewing Baltic-style porter with whole vanilla beans. It is 7.8% ABV and has 39 IBUs. Their description is, black with a tan head, this Baltic-style porter has rich aromas of chocolate and vanilla. The flavor is more of the same, with a slight note of roast rounding it out. Thanks to the addition of whole vanilla beans, a strong vanilla flavor carries throughout the beer as it finishes on the sweeter side with just enough hop bitterness to keep it from being cloying. A portion of all proceeds will be donated to the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, I drank a big glass of this when we were at Krampusnacht.
I was surprised that they gave you the mug club full.
It was so yummy, though.
Because certain beers...
I wasn't driving. It was fine.
No, but certain beers they don't put in the mug.
Yeah.
They give you... Certain beers, they only do, like 10 ounces versus 16.
Correct.
So I thought this would be one of those.
Apparently not.
It is delicious. We've had this... They've been doing this Krampus Cool at least for a couple years.
At least 3 years.
Yeah.
Because, well, we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, it's very yummy. It's a little malty. You can definitely taste the vanilla.
It's dry like a porter.
Yes, it is very dry. So maybe have another drink nearby.
Yeah.
To keep you hydrated.
I don't really taste the bitterness that they're talking about.
I can get a little bit out of it, but not a whole lot.
But it's definitely sweet, which I think that's the vanilla.
Yes.
That makes it that sweet. It's a solid beer. And it's a seasonal beer, and it's a very limited release. Although I don't know how limited. I don't know if you can still get it. It's definitely probably not in distribution, but you might get lucky.
Yeah, they might have it in the tap room in to-go beers. You can probably at least still get it as a growler.
You think they would do this in a growler?
I mean...
They'll do it in the
You're
tap
going to pay
room.
more than you would for a regular growler, probably.
Yeah.
Breweries do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's a limited release for sure. It's not like they have the Schwartz beer, and that's a, quote, seasonal beer.
I mean, Schwartz beer season should be all the time.
For sure.
I have talked about that on multiple podcasts.
Yeah.
Not just this podcast, also on Truth Beer and Podsequences.
Yeah, shout out to Truth Beer Pod.
Yeah, we'll talk about them more next week.
Cheers to the weekend, and Lord help us in the week ahead, because starting tomorrow, we are going to have to do it all over again. More crazy adventures are ahead, and we will make sure to share them with you each week right here on the Craft Parenting Podcast. On to our main topic, which is Krampus, lights, trains, and other Cincinnati holiday traditions. Caroline, do you want to talk about Krampus, since you are very passionate about it?
So, for the record, we have said both Krampus and Krampus this episode. We haven't been able to find, what is the legit way to pronounce it, because we've heard it both ways.
Krampus.
We've said Krampus, but then you immediately said Krampus the next time that you said it. So...
Krampus? No, it's Krampus. You're getting in my head.
When we started the episode, you said Krampus. We were going to say Krampus.
What is the way that what's-her-face says it?
Candy says Krampus.
The opposite of that.
The old lady on the movie trailer said Krampus.
No, so Krampus.
It's Krampus. Okay.
I'm switching it up.
Which is what we say most of the time anyway.
Krampus.
So, Krampus is we'll go with the Wikipedia description, and then we'll get more into how we know him. So, Krampus is a horned figure.
I don't know him, personally.
That's because you're a goody two-shoes. He's a horned figure in Central and Eastern Alpine folklore who scares children that misbehave. He visits with St. Nick, and if you've been good, you get presents from St. Nick, but if you're bad, you'll get beaten by Krampus. Legit, that is what Wikipedia says. And I mean legit, that's what it is.
So you'll get beaten?
Yes, by his reeds.
Okay, by the reeds.
Yeah, he carries around a bunch of sticks. So our friends that portray him usually have cowbells on them or some kind of other livestock bell system. And most of them will carry some kind of sticks with them as well. One of them actually has a legit basket that he wears on his back that he has put small children in before and offered to put our small children in for photos.
And for the record, we know this guy.
Yes, we politely declined because Lily's been good and Elliot is a bit too young to go in his bag. But maybe next year, we'll see.
So this guy, we know him outside. So backtrack.
We know a lot of the Krampuses outside of them being Krampus.
So backtrack. There is an entire organization in Cincinnati.
Yes, called Krampus Loft, Cincinnati. I will tell Joe to link to them in the show notes.
And that's who showed up at Westside.
Yes.
In addition to and a random guy playing the part of Saint Nick.
He knows them. Like, they're all buddies. So a few years, so really, really backtracking. There is a woman in the Stone-Schwaben clubs of the United States who makes dirndls. And her slogan is, "These aren't your Oma's dirndls."
Because they have pockets.
1, because they have pockets. And 2, because they are more modern designs. So she went to school for fashion design and then decided that she was just going to make a business out of designing dirndls. And girl has made money doing it, or at least she stayed open. But I'm pretty sure she's making good money doing it. So a few years ago, she started doing Krampus themed stuff around Christmas time. So instead of just going with Santa Claus or Saint Nick, she found Krampus and decided to start doing stuff with Krampus, which me following along with her on social media, I started digging into a little bit more about who this guy was. And at the time, he was really cool because it was, oh yeah, instead of giving you presents, it's if you're bad, I'm going to beat you and carry you away to the underworld. Sweet. Now that I have small children, that's a little terrifying. But if it works. So he started, I don't know at what point he really started gaining traction in the States, but in 2015 there was a Krampus movie, and it's like a horror movie. It features...
I did not see this movie.
I have not seen the movie either.
Stephen and Hillary should watch it.
I think they have seen it. From the trailer that I've watched today, it looks like a horror movie, and the guy who plays Ben in Parks and Rec is in it. So, like, I'm mildly interested in it. Oh, and the guy who plays, oh my goodness, he was in Anchorman. He's balding. He played...
Michael Scott?
No, Anchorman. Oh wait, Michael Scott is an Anchorman, but not Michael Scott. What have you got me saying? Let me find it.
Few moments later.
David
Koechner.
David Koechner.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Look at his filmography.
Okay. He doesn't look familiar. Oh, the Conan O'Brien guy?
No. He's the guy in the cowboy hat in Anchorman.
Says he's a sketch regular on the Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Okay, then yes, the Conan O'Brien guy. I don't watch Conan.
It's a horror comedy, Krampus.
Yes. So at some point he started gaining traction in the States, and our friends who do things with multiple German organizations made their own costumes and started Krampus Loft, Cincinnati, where they do appearances throughout the city, throughout the year, but mostly at Christmas-themed events to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club of Cincinnati. We know at least 3 of the Krampuses outside of their costumes. 2 years ago, so in 2019, they partnered with Westside Brewing to make a beer where the proceeds would benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Cincinnati, and they would come to Westside Brewing and just kind of meander through the brewery and scare the crap out of people. We decided this would be the perfect event to take our 3-month-old daughter to. She didn't care. So we put Lily in one of her Christmas dresses because she had multiple Christmas dresses that first Christmas.
She did.
And we have a picture of us holding her next to Krampus. Krampus. She did not care. She was like, "Hey, how's it going? Who are you? You don't have boobs, so I don't care."
Basically. And to kind of paint a picture of Krampus, what he looks like. Think devil with horns and the face.
And goat hooves. Cloven hooves.
Yeah. Not a good looking guy. Very scary looking. It's more not really a Christmas, what you would consider Christmas.
Yeah.
Something you would see at Christmas. It's something more that you would see at Halloween, maybe.
I think they do events around Halloween as well.
Yeah, maybe. But like you said, we know at least 2 of the people who play the part of Krampus. And those are the people that we interacted with, our kids, because we know them personally.
And they're like, "Hey, we know your mom and dad. That means that we can be super mean to you."
To our kids, yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point, Lily continues to not, she didn't really care.
No.
Even this year, you mentioned her at 3 months, her at, 2 years old.
I mean, she was like hesitant, but it was more like a "who are you and why are you talking to me?" versus a like, "why do you look so scary?"
And Elliot, he's kind of a stoic baby.
Yeah.
He doesn't really wear his emotions on his sleeve, just kind of blank stared. It's like, what is going on?
Again, you don't have boobs. I don't care. Where's my food?
Well, it was It was pushing on his bedtime.
It was.
Because we left before his bedtime, but we were at the edge.
Yeah, we maxed out our time with the children out and about.
And we left just in time.
We did get a text message from your parents claiming they were going to call children's services on us while we were at the brewery. And I was like, well, Lily just gave Krampus a high five, so I'm pretty sure they're going to find that we're fit parents.
She did.
She is obviously not traumatized by this experience at all.
Yeah, maybe if we put her in his bag.
Yeah, if we had like forced interaction as far as like we're going to super bring you into his space without your permission, probably would have had an issue. But we just kind of let everybody go at their own pace, and she was totally cool. Elliot actually let one of our friends hold him, and he was just like, hey, how's it going? Do you have food for me? You don't have food for me, so I don't know if I care. Can you feed me? I like food.
It was about time for that.
Yeah. And I mean, so like Lily's first Christmas, we have pictures of her with Krampus. We don't have pictures of her with the Santa that is not from our family, because her photos with Santa are your dad in a Santa costume.
Well, where do you go to see Santa? The mall?
Yes.
I'm not going to a mall. Do they still do that?
Yes.
I
So
saw pictures on Instagram where the Santa was kind of 6 feet back or whatever.
there are multiple experiences that you can have with Santa. You get to choose your own adventure based on where you go. This year so far, the kids really only have pictures with Krampus again.
Whoops.
we're if we go to the Festival of Lights again, maybe we'll see Santa then.
Maybe.
I mean, does it really matter? Probably, but they'll be fine.
Now, the Donut Strawman does have a Christmas party.
But it's smack dab in the middle of nap time.
And Santa does appear.
He does.
But,
We have some connections.
But as you said, it happens during nap time, so we can't attend that. At least not yet.
No, because we have friends who did attend, even though it is smack dab in the middle of nap time, and the photos are hilarious because their children are having meltdowns. Because they're like, no, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Who is this stranger? Stranger danger. Also, pandemic babies. Elliot is very chill for being a pandemic baby. Like,
well,
he
we
doesn't really...
we deliberately try to give him a normal as possible of experiences.
I mean, it helps that your family is huge, so he sees people like all of the time. Some people don't have that luxury.
Yeah, so our families think that we're weird.
I think that they're weird, but for entirely different reasons, so it's fine.
The second part of our Cincinnati holiday tradition is the Festival of Lights, which is put on by the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. And from the zoo website, quote, 2021 is the 39th annual event. It is November 19th through January 9th. And they have 4 million LED lights, 27 light-up animals, a black light puppet show, the Wild Lights show on Swan Lake, and Fiona Fairies hidden in Hippo Cove. And this is a tradition where, well, in high school I didn't really go, but you and I went in college at least once a year, most years.
Yeah, we went most years.
There was that one year where we were like, hey, let's go to the zoo.
That was the first year, and we got there at like 8:45.
Yeah,
Like,
because we're in college, and 8:45, that's pretty
that's not
pretty
late.
early, right?
Yeah.
I mean, compared to 2 a.m., that's pretty early, right?
Oh, the zoo closes at 9 p.m.
So we drove
Interesting.
we drove all the way out there. That was before we could look it up on our phones, I think.
Yes. And before we didn't consult our parents at all as far as like, hey, we're going to go do this thing. And they could be like, no, you're not.
No, we did not consult our parents. But Festival of Lights, it's a good time. The zoo is, we mentioned this in a previous episode, like a early episode where we ran the zoo. It's very hilly.
Very, very hilly.
But the Festival of Lights, it's a way for the zoo to get money in the winter, even though there are no animals out.
There are animals out, just not as many.
Well, the big hitters aren't out. Fiona's not out. The tigers, the cheetahs, the wolves.
Well, and because most of the zoo animals are actually used to going to bed at like 5 p.m. As far as like they go inside and then they stay inside for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and it's too cold too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might go into the reptile house and see, an alligator or whatever, or we might go into hippo or manatee, the manatee place,
Manatee Springs.
Manatee Springs.
Stay the night there if you can. It's really cool.
And you might see an alligator. I called it Florida because
It was very humid.
Yeah. When we went just recently, a couple of days ago, it was really cold.
It was like the coldest day of the year. It's like the coldest night of the year so far. So when you're going to the Festival of Lights, things that you have to take in consideration. What is the weather? Because if the weather is decent and you're like, oh, it's not too cold outside, we'll go to the Festival of Lights. Guess what? Everyone is having the same idea as you. But if it's really, really cold outside, like below 32 degrees, is your high for the day, like nobody's going to be there. So maybe go that day, but also dress for the weather. Elliot was a marshmallow that gave us the death stare a lot.
Think Maggie Simpson in her star snowsuit.
Yeah, because he was in Lily's snowsuit from last year, which is a 2T, and the kid is almost 9 months old.
He's in 18 months clothes, though.
Yeah, he's an 18-month clothes.
So it's not huge on him, but it is big.
Yeah, so he was not happy about being contained and turned into a marshmallow. He was just kind of like, seriously, you guys are doing this to me? The entire time we were there. It was really funny.
Well, they were in their side-by-side stroller together, and they were both, they took up space, let's put it that way, because they were both poofy, and they both had poofy jackets on and stuff.
Hey, at no point did either of the children complain that they were cold, so I will call that a win.
No, but I don't think he had a good time because Lily kept putting her elbow in his face.
Well, that's because she wanted to see everything. So Lily got to meet Anna and Elsa because they had Anna and Elsa there from Frozen. We might have broken her little brain. We're not quite sure.
She didn't really say anything.
She just kind of stared.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on right now?
And then she wouldn't move away because we were like, Lily, time to go. There's another little girl coming. And she's like, who are you guys? You guys kind of look familiar.
Yeah, it was so cute.
So when you walk into the zoo, they have, like I said, 4 million LED lights. I feel like half of those lights are on this giant Christmas tree.
They do have a pretty big Christmas tree.
Brian and Graham Brian would be jealous.
It's not a real tree, so he's not as jealous.
No, I guess it's not a real tree. But I would say it's probably 50 feet tall.
Probably. It's a pretty tall tree.
So yeah, I think Lily was pretty impressed by that. The most obvious way to go is across the bridge towards the giraffes.
Yeah, so you go towards Africa via Swan Lake because Swan Lake is all lit up and has some rockin' music.
They have music and
with a light show.
The lights go with the music. It's usually Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Well, so they have a Trans-Siberian Orchestra song, Charlie Brown, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, and like 2 or 3 other songs. I want to say that Mariah Carey's song is new to this year, or is like more recent of an addition. Because usually I would hear Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Charlie Brown, or whatever the other one is that I'm currently blanking on.
So we didn't stay very long. We probably stayed, 45 minutes, a half hour?
Yeah, it was probably a good 45 minutes.
We just took the outer loop.
Yeah, we did the outer loop. We debated taking the train. We debated seeing Santa. And then we just kind of decided it was a bit too cold. We should just see what we as adults want to see and then go home.
Yeah, we didn't eat dinner.
No, we had not yet had dinner, so we still needed to do that.
Yeah, so we were...
And they do have dinner options there. We just knew that the kids were not going to tolerate their situation too much longer.
Elliot is a hard 8 o'clock bedtime.
He is. And like today it was like 7:45. He's like, okay, Mom, it's bedtime. Please put me in bed.
Yeah. But we took the outer loop As you said, there was an opportunity to see Santa, but we did not take it.
They did have some characters throughout the zoo. It's like we saw a penguin, we saw Rudolph, we saw Frosty. So they are also around for photo opportunities if that tickles your fancy.
And there's a stationary character. It was a giant polar bear.
Yes. So we got a picture taken with the polar bear.
Though the kids stayed in there.
The kids stayed in the stroller for that one.
Yeah, and like we said, it was very cold, and then Manatee Springs was about halfway through the loop.
Yeah, so we stopped at Manatee Springs to warm up a bit.
And I called it Florida.
And get Lily to stretch her legs a little bit so she would hopefully complain less about being in the stroller.
Yeah. The manatees were sleeping.
Yeah.
So they weren't in the tank, but there were fish.
And she liked watching the fish.
Yeah. And there was like a little display, like a photo.
Yeah, there's a photo op. And
Lily went up there by herself and basically smiled. And
cheesed out a little bit.
Yeah, I took her picture. And there's a stationary, is it an alligator or a crocodile?
I don't know.
I think it's an alligator.
I feel like I've been told the difference between the two so much that I should know, but I don't remember.
I think crocodiles are...
I think crocodiles have narrower snout.
I think that's true. The teeth are sharper. I don't know. I feel like I could see the difference. But I think that's an alligator. It's a stationary, it's like a statue. And my favorite thing to do is put my fingers in the mouth and then quickly pull it away.
Be like, oh no. And Lily gets kind of worried.
She does. And then she does it. And then I knocked on his head and it went clink, clink, clink. And she's like, oh, okay. We're good. And there's like a mini aquarium. Well, not an aquarium, but there's like snakes and stuff. Florida-y stuff. Because manatees are typically Florida-based.
Yes.
I don't want to say exclusively Florida-based, but that's typically where they get them and then where they release them.
Yeah, you can listen to our episode about the Cincinnati Zoo to learn more about Manatee Springs and the program that they have there.
Yeah, so we warmed up and then we were on our way and we saw the lights and Lily was like, whoa, wow.
She was so cute. Elliot was like, please get me out of this.
Yeah. He didn't like verbally say anything though.
No, he did not. So to his credit, he didn't say anything. He just kind of looked at us like, really? You're going to make me do this? What's going on?
So I think he was intrigued by the lights because he wasn't like crying. And if he's upset, he will let you know.
Oh, for sure. He won't always let you know if he's happy, but he will let you know if he is not happy.
So I think he had a good time. Festival of Lights is always a good time.
Yeah, just make sure you dress for the weather. If you have younger kids, bring them blankets and a stroller. So if they get tired, you can bundle them up in the stroller and just push them through because the zoo is lots of hills and they can tire out little legs pretty fast.
Get there early.
Yeah, get there early.
I feel like we got there at like 5:30.
Yeah, we got there at like 5:30, but Festival of Lights opens at 4. So you can get there as early as 4 with all the lights on. I mean, really, the zoo doesn't close. So you can get to the zoo whatever time you want and just stay through the Festival of Lights. But it's whatever you and your family are able to put up with.
But
will depend upon the
when
weather.
we were leaving at like 6:30.
Yeah, there were a ton of people coming in.
That's when the crowds were coming.
Yeah, and we're like, okay, sweet. Because we went on a weeknight. So definitely recommend going on a weeknight. Pay attention to the weather. If the weather is nicer, it's going to be more crowded. Get there as early as possible and know where the auxiliary parking lots are. So shoot for the main Vine Street lot. Or if you think it's going to be crowded, know what the second lot is that they open and go to that one instead.
There's usually signs.
Yes. There'll usually be signs saying lot is closed or whatever.
Yeah. And then if it's a Saturday, the police will usually be there to direct traffic.
Yeah.
Even if it's a Thursday, because Thursdays are...
It can get crazy.
Yeah, I think we went on a random Tuesday.
Yeah. We went on Tuesday. We went on a Tuesday. I remember going one year with my Girl Scout troop on a Thursday, and we definitely left way too late. Me and my co-leader got separated trying to get there, and she was the one that had the zoo pass that would get in most of the girls in the troop. Fortunately, they were nice, and they let me in with the girls that I had in my car, so we could like go in and see some lights while we were waiting for my co-leader to show up with the rest of the girls. But that was crazy town.
Well, yeah, that's the trick. Get there early. And even then, you might not have luck.
Yeah, so
'Cause
have a backup plan.
There's only so many Saturdays between, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And everyone's going to be thinking the same thing.
Oh, the weather's not so bad. We should go to the zoo tonight. And then everyone is at the zoo.
So that's all about the Festival of Lights. As you said, if you want to learn more about the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens, check out our previous episode, which will be linked in the show notes. We go through the history and a bunch of other facts about the zoo, which you might find interesting.
The Festival of Lights has been going on for 39 years. I have not been able to find out how long they have had the train display at the Krohn Conservatory. I tried Google, I tried Krohn's website, could not find this annual train show. So Krohn Conservatory is a conservatory that is in Eden Park, and it was opened in 1933. They have multiple sections. They have a fern house, a palm house, a desert house, an orchid house, the John Carroll Bonsai Garden, and a seasonal showroom. And in addition to the train show, which they do for Christmas, they also have a butterfly show.
Do they have the butterfly show today?
No, that's in the spring.
Oh,
It's part of the seasonal showroom.
Oh, okay.
So they have a train display every year, and the old train display at least used to be at Maple Knoll. I don't know if it's still there. I couldn't find anything on Maple Knoll's website saying that it was still there.
By the radio station, right?
Yes. I couldn't find any evidence that it is still there, and it has been a hot second since I've gone through Maple Knoll to see it there. And so the train displays that they have replicas of Cincinnati landmarks, and all of them are made with botanical architecture by local artisans. So they use leaves and sticks and stuff from plants to create all of these little mini landmarks. So they had I tried to get Lily's picture with the P&G towers.
Yeah.
I have a picture of Lily with the P&G towers, but I don't have any where she's smiling or looks decent.
Yeah.
Because she's just so busy looking all around. And what, Mom? What do you want? There's too much going on right now.
I saw a video of her, and there was a train going, there's a display. The train was going
in a circle around Findlay Market.
Right. And it was going closest to Lily, and it was going into the tunnel, and she was trying to follow it.
So really she would watch the train go into the tunnel, and then, because you could get around half of the display. So she would watch the train disappear, and then she would run to where the train would come out. So she could watch the train come out just to make sure that it was still doing what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I missed it because one of the first few times she was like, yay, she got super excited when the train popped back up again. But I missed it on camera.
Oh, man.
So she was cute. She was running back and forth.
I also noticed the Roebling Bridge.
Yes, they have a giant Roebling Bridge that you can walk underneath.
I don't think I've ever been to the conservatory.
I feel like I've maybe taken you once, but it would have been very early into our relationship.
Okay.
So it would have been a long, long time ago.
Maybe once then.
But I used to go all of the time with my grandma and my mom. So we would go to the butterfly show. We would see the trains. We would just go and look at all the plants and run around where it's nice and warm all year long.
Now, I do know, I don't know, so I'm going off script, but the train.
You do know what you don't know.
The train thing is a pretty common tradition for Christmas, like train sets and stuff like that.
Yes.
You see it in all kinds of movies like Home Alone and stuff. Home Alone 2, when he goes the toy. He's going around New York and stuff. But I remember going with my Uncle Tommy downtown to see a train display.
Yes.
It wasn't the museum center. It wasn't Krohn Conservatory.
Correct.
I don't know where it was.
Yeah, Mom can tell you all about it. I don't remember what it's called, but I do remember it. We did go to that once or twice. Most of the time, though, we would go to Krohn. It was on 4th Street.
Yeah, because there was that garage. It was a weird garage where you would go up and then...
Yes. So yeah, that was on 4th Street.
They destroyed
I don't remember
it.
what it was called. Yeah, the building's not there anymore. They stopped doing that quite a few years ago, but that was a thing. I do know that I went to that at least once.
I went at least once as well with my Uncle Tommy.
Yeah.
I must have been like super young, like third grade or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember seeing trains around Christmas because there's lights. I don't know what it is. What is it about trains that is Christmassy?
Trains bring all the toys for the good little girls and boys.
Yeah, there's that, I guess.
You've read The Little Engine That Could.
I guess these days it's more
sentiment.
It's more airplanes
Yeah.
because they go over our house.
All the time. Hey, they finally finished construction on that other runway, so we have fewer planes going over our house.
This is true.
But yeah, so I remember going when I was little and seeing all the different train displays. Because the one at Maple Knoll is it looks like a Christmas tree and it rotates, and there were one or two trains on that, and then all along the tree were different Cincinnati landmarks. And I remember that being at Krohn, which would have been a while ago at this point because I'm old. But at least I'm not ancient.
Wow.
We would also go for the butterfly show every once in a while. I'd love to be able to take Lily to the butterfly show next year.
I think her mind is going to melt because the butterflies can land on you, right?
They can, which she'll either like or freak out about. We will see.
Hope she doesn't hurt them.
She also has to stay still long enough for them to want to land on her.
That's true.
But Lily made a few toddler acquaintances while we were there.
Did she?
Yeah. So the conservatory, check their website to make sure their hours are still accurate. When we went, they opened up at 10 a.m. We got there about 10:15, which my goal was to get there as close to opening as we could, which was good because when we left around 11 or 11:15, there were more people starting to get there, and it was getting a little more crowded. I was having to try to get Lily to not run into people, which was hard. But she made some toddler acquaintances where they would just kind of stare at each other.
Boys or girls?
Boys. Like just kind of like, who are you? What are you doing? I'm pointing at this body of water too. Look, train. They just, it's just a toddler stare.
Did they talk to each other?
No, they just stared at each other.
Really?
Yes. Multiple times.
Who was this boy?
I don't know, but he got really shy around her. It was pretty cute. Well, because she was on she got on Santa's sleigh because they have a sleigh there, which I got pictures of the kids on the sleigh.
Okay, so that's what that was.
Yes. And she got off of this, or no, I got her off of the sleigh because she became obsessed with the sleigh. And the little boy was there with his mom, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to get pictures on the sleigh too?" And he was just kind of like, and Lily's like, "Sleigh, like come take picture on sleigh." She didn't say anything though, and he's just like, "No, like we're gonna go now." But again, he didn't say anything either. So they kind of just left.
Oh no.
But that was in the desert room, and Lily took herself around the desert room like 4 separate times and didn't touch anything. I was very nervous with her in the desert room.
What is in the desert room?
Lots of succulents, sharp, pointy plants.
Gotcha.
That will hurt if you poke them.
And she did not poke herself.
She did not.
Very proud of her.
Yeah. So we ran around the rooms a few times. She liked watching the trains. Elliot liked people watching. I didn't get as many death stares as I got when we took him to the zoo. He actually got out of his stroller a few times.
From Elliot, not other people.
Yes, from Elliot.
Okay.
Yeah. No death stares from other people, just death stares from Elliot. Because he got his picture taken on the sleigh. He got his picture taken on a bench. I have a picture of me and Elliot. I might have a picture of me with the kids. But Lily did not want to sit on the bench next to her mommy for a picture.
Oh no, why not?
I don't know.
Daddy's girl.
I picked up Elliot to put him on my lap and was like, "Lily used to," and Lily was gone. She had been sitting at the bench for too long.
Oh.
So it's probably a good 45 minutes or an hour activity.
If you have little kids.
Yeah. If
you
you
don't have a
who don't want to know
span.
what every single plant is and catalog them in their brain. Eden Park has a lot of good green space, but depending upon the weather is kind of how much of that green space you'll explore.
Was it cold today?
It wasn't too bad, but the kids wanted to go home and get some snacks.
The conservatory is inside, so it's heated.
It's a greenhouse, so I don't really think they have to heat it that much. It just retains heat like crazy.
But it's not. The temperature is controlled.
Yes.
Versus
it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
They do also have a nativity. Guess when the nativity opens?
When?
Tomorrow.
Oh no.
December 10th. When I was leaving, I was like, "Oh yeah, nativity, December 10th. Mom, that's tomorrow, isn't it?" Yep. So if we waited another day, we could have potentially seen the nativity. which the Nativity has been around since, I want to say, 1939. I am like 95% sure the plaque next to the Nativity said it's been sponsored by Western and Southern since 1939. So at least the Nativity has been going on that long. Don't know about the train show.
Well, Cincinnati is a train city.
It is. We have the last Art Deco train center that was installed before trains became kind of obsolete. Well,
they're not obsolete. I
before public transportation on trains to get from city to city.
Yeah, we still transfer lots of goods. Well, I mean a fair amount of goods
via train. And when all of your airlines start canceling flights, people get on Amtrak. I saw some tweets about that.
It's a very strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
Which I am not surprised about.
Eventually we'll take Lily to Union Terminal.
And Elliot.
/ the Cincinnati Museum Center. And we'll get to see the giant train set that is there.
Is there a giant train set? Oh, like the
what?
The life-size train set?
Yeah, the giant model of Cincinnati? You have seen this. What the... Cincinnati Museum Center train.
As a kid, I did not go to Union Terminal unless it was that one time with school. Okay, I'm getting an education.
I have to turn up my brightness so you don't yell.
Is this a Christmas thing?
No, this is all the time. They have a giant train set.
Duke Energy holiday trains.
No.
So it is a Christmas thing.
No, Cincinnati Museum Center. The Cincinnati Museum
Center. Okay, so the last time I was at the Cincinnati Museum Center was when we saw the Star Wars exhibit, which was, 2016? 2017. Maybe it was sooner than that. Maybe it was more like 2019. No, because Lily was...
No, Lily wasn't born. It was like 2017 or 2018 probably, maybe.
I did not see a train at...
We didn't go into the Cincinnati... Oh, wait. Is it on the Cincinnati or the Natural? Yeah, it's on the Cincinnati side. So there's a Cincinnati Museum. There's a Natural History Museum. There's the Children's Museum. And then they have the rotating exhibit. We only went to the rotating exhibit.
And you took your Girl Scout troop there, and we only went to the Children's Museum.
Yeah.
So when would I have seen a train set at the museum center?
I mean, I went all the time as a kid.
No, as a kid, we did not go to, even though I was in band, I did not go to music hall. I did not go to see Broadway shows. I didn't go to the museum center.
We have to go now.
We're
going the week between Christmas and New Year's. I don't care how busy it is. We're going to go.
I saw my first off-Broadway, traveling Broadway show with you. I think it was Mary Poppins.
It was.
That was my first...
No, Rent. I took you to see Rent.
You took me to see Rent before Mary Poppins?
Yeah, that was the first thing that we did as a couple. But we bought tickets before we were a couple. It was in November of 2010.
We were a couple in 2010.
2009. Sorry, it was November of 2009. Because all my friends were away at college that I would have seen Rent with.
Well,
so I convinced you to buy a ticket, and then we started dating.
Okay, but regardless, my point is, my mom and dad, they aren't really artsy people.
My grandparents were very bored. They took me lots of places.
I mean, we went lots of places, right? But
yeah.
It just wasn't artsy places. Museum center, music hall.
Yeah,
Broadway.
I swear my grandma took me to I went to the art museum a few times as a young kid. Probably do not recommend that. I swear she took me to Taft's Museum at least once too, which is way less kid friendly than the art museum is.
Now, at St. Ignatius, we went to what is that? It's like the children's, it's a theater, children's theater.
Oh, yeah, the Playhouse in the Park? Or no, the children's...
No, it's right next to where I used to work.
3 days later.
Taft Theater?
Yeah, Taft's Theater.
Yeah, that's not a children's theater, but that's a theater.
Well, they had children's shows, and we would go maybe twice a year. In 3rd and 4th grade. I don't know how often we went.
I mean, they'll throw in children's productions every once in a while and then find ways to get schools to buy tickets.
Yeah, it was hundreds. I feel like it was a lot of buses.
Oh, for sure.
That went. So we would go there. We went to the zoo one year. I remember we had our field trips at St. Ives, but my mom wouldn't, in Boy Scouts and stuff, but my mom wouldn't take me by herself.
Well, we're going to go to the museum center when we're both on break and take the children with us. And we'll get ice cream in the little parlor if it's still there.
Well, to be clear.
And if it's not there, we'll just go to Grader's afterwards.
And to be clear, it's not something that my mom's interested in, but I'm not sure middle school Joey would be interested in that either.
I mean, it depends.
I probably would have been interested in music hall, like
You might have been.
seeing a live concert, like a professional concert. But I also don't know how often that. Well, the Pops was a thing.
The Pops was a thing, yes.
Yeah.
I saw the Nutcracker a few times at Music Hall. That's a thing. I haven't heard anything about that this year, though. But I also haven't, tried to listen out for it because they do a local production of the Nutcracker. That's another Christmassy thing, getting us back to topic.
No, I've never seen the Nutcracker.
1 year, one of my friends was in it, so that's why we saw it.
The next day.
And we're back.
5 hours later.
So that was us going through 3 events that we attended in Cincinnati this year.
What is the other?
And what's the what?
The title of the episode is allegedly Krampus Lights, Trains, and Other.
I didn't call it that. You called it that.
I call it that. Maybe it's the
So,
Nutcracker.
Maybe the Nutcracker is a thing. Sometimes there is a local production of A Christmas Carol.
Oh, I did see I did go to
Playhouse in the Park.
I did go to Playhouse in the Park. I saw a one-man show of It's a Wonderful Life.
So, yeah, I don't think that they do A Christmas Carol every year. I mean, obviously they don't if they're not doing it this year, but they do that play. Sometimes they'll do How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So, yeah, check your local Playhouse stuffs. See what they got.
So now it is time for Joe's Dad Joke of the Week.
I feel like you're monopolizing this episode because I'm not hijacking your joke segment, but you completely hijacked my What's Bugging Me in TV.
Well, you didn't have anything in the show notes, so I added
Joe, did you not hear me? I thought long and hard about what I was going to talk about this week.
it.
Then you just hijacked it at the last minute.
Well, do you have a joke?
No.
So I feel like your point is mute. Anyway,
I'm just telling you how I feel.
1 week later, I have a joke, and you're going to laugh, okay?
Okay. How much you paying me? Where's my chocolate? I need a bribe.
I will get to that in a minute. It'll be a nickel.
It will be. That's oddly specific.
So what do you call a bankrupt Santa?
A ho, ho, ho? I don't know what.
A Saint Nicholas. Because he's Nicholas.
He could go to a Nickelback concert and maybe he'll get that nickel back.
I feel like Julia is a really big fan of Nickelback.
I mean, she made a really good parody song about shift beers. So
She did. And she committed to it.
she did.
And she sung like an entire verse plus the refrain.
She did good work.
I
And
mean-
now we're in her beer vent season. Oh man, it's great.
Yeah, she tagged us, and I can't say that I knew the source material. Was it Hawthorne Heights, Ohio is for Lovers?
It was. And we have seen Hawthorne Heights live.
That's what you told me. I'm like, did we?
We did before Motion City soundtrack concert.
I mean, they couldn't have been very...
Memorable. Like half of, if not more than half of Bogarts was singing along with them because they're a relatively local band.
Yeah, well...
Your son will be singing to them when he's older, when he joins an alternative band.
Poor Elliot. He already has his future planned out.
You just don't understand me, guys.
That does it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening. We want to hear from you, dear listener. If you have ideas or a show topic, if you have comments about a previous show, perhaps you liked it, or maybe you learned something new. There are several ways you can get in touch with us. Send us an email at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Craft Parenting Podcast to get updates on when episodes have dropped, see pictures of our adorable kids, and more.
And if you followed us, you would know whether or not our children made it through Krampusnacht intact. And if you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to share the show with your friends and your family. It's what helps our show grow. You can also send us stuff to our awesome P.O. Box.
and all of this information is available on our beautiful website, which is www.craftparentingpodcast.com. So make sure you go check it out.
That's where we post the show notes. Plus, we've been writing blog posts about some of the stuff that doesn't make it in the podcast.
Now, admittedly, we have been taking a minor break from the blog posts.
We've been a bit busy. Maybe we'll explain why in a blog post. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
Life has been happening.
And we would rather live the life than write about the life.
But we will be
picking up some kind of schedule in the near future again.
Yes. So if you're listening and you're wondering, hey, where are these people at? Life is happening.
So much life.
And as you mentioned, you have an exciting journey ahead of you.
Yep. I start my new job on Monday.
And by the time people
will listen to this, I'll be in the new job for a little while. So
yes. So that's exciting. So you're transitioning to that. And then we have some other stuff going on as well.
Like the tenants moving out of our house eventually.
Yes, hopefully.
We have a date.
We do have a date. Just good news for all parties involved, not just us.
Yeah.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are listed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and just about every podcast app out there. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Peace. Oh, Joey's going to hate me for that one. Love you.
The 40-Year-Old Virgin released in 2005?
Yeah, because I was in high school.
But
so we're old.
Anchorman released in 2004?
We're old, Joe. Well, I'm old. You're ancient.
I thought those were... Oh my goodness. Look at the picture on... Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
focusing.
Okay, I am not focusing. You told me to look up his filmography.
So you would remember who the dude was. I didn't say, dig into his personal life and every movie that he's ever done and then question your age and the passage of time.
Okay, so he's in Talladega Nights. He's in 40-Year-Old Virgin, Anchorman.
Correct. But we've moved past that, Joe. We're not talking about the movie anymore because we haven't seen the movie yet.
Okay, go ahead.
At some point, we'll watch it.
Go ahead.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
One time I said Gesundheit to a kid on the plane that sneezed, and he laughed because they were on their way to Germany. And I was like, high schoolers. So, do
when
you
was
wanna,
that?
That was when I went to New York for work.
Ah.
You weren't there.
And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Craft Beer Parenting Podcast? Craft Beerenting Podcast? Apparently we're not committed enough to our drinking, so we need to up our game or something.
Who said that?
Pretty sure it was Brian.
Shift
Beers said that. Shift Beers also said that I was the one that called them out for not talking about accessories. And I was the one that said they talked about cups. So I'm going to go finish this beer and think about what they said and write them a strongly worded DM or something. I don't know.
You can, at 2 a.m., you can DM Woodburn Brewing and say, you up?
I'll just message all of their different social media platforms. You up? How about that Shift Beers episode where you called me out? We gotta fight about this.
To be fair, I don't think Brian manages that. To be fair,
Josh manages our social media, right? That's what he says in Shift Beers.
Yeah, but you said Brian called you out, right?
No. Brian called us out for not being committed enough to drinking. I do not yet know who. I don't know who called me out for being the one that said they didn't talk about accessories.
Well, you should.
I need to re-listen to the episode to figure out who it was that was talking.
If you wake up at 2 a.m., message Shift Beers. You up?
We gonna fight.
No, we're not going to fight. Just you up. Because that was a joke on the latest episode.
I'm gonna put those episodes next in my queue.